Easy English Reading. A record. Even before my little mother came to Arosa, I had set a kind of record there. I had fallen down more often than any of the other men, but when she came, I thought everything would be different. She was very tired at first, so I decided not to stay in Arosa, where there were so many people, but to head north. We walked until she could walk no further. Then we stopped at the Hotel Magenruhe. Here I said to Mother, "You sit here on the veranda by the telescope, and I will walk among the mountains." "Don't have any accidents," she said. "I cannot promise that, little mother," I said, "but I will not forget that I am your only son. But perhaps you will come with me?" I soon saw that the other climbers in the hotel did not like me. I found them to be very serious and boring people. They classified themselves according to their seasons. One was in his 9th season, another in his 10th, and so on. One evening, sitting in the smoking room after dinner, I said to them, "I'm going to do the Morderberg before I go down." It was quite a sensation for them. "When are you going down?" "In a week or so," I replied. "You can't do that in your first year," said a gentleman. "You mustn't try it," said another. "Stupid idea. You'll never make it." I waited a moment and then said, "I think I will take my mother with me. She is small, but a very strong little woman." They did not even want to continue the conversation. Then I decided to show them that it was not just talk. The next morning I spoke to my mother about it. She was sitting on the veranda looking at the mountains. "How are you?" I asked. "Very well," she said. "Do you see that peak, Mum?" "Yes, I do," she said. "That's the Morderberg. You and I will be up there the day after tomorrow." "It's not very high, is it, dear?" she said. "It will be all right," I said. "Very well then," she said. In the afternoon I went down to get the guides and porters and spent the next day practicing on the glacier and rock above the hotel. But as always, I fell a lot. The next day, everyone in the hotel came to our room and asked Mum and me not to go up, but we did not listen to them. The next morning we started. I remember that start very well. It was still early. The sun had not yet risen, and everything around us looked very cold and dark. A group of silent men stood at the door of the hotel and looked at us. The last words I heard were, "You'll have to come back." "We'll be back," I replied, and so we made our way across the stream and up towards the snowfields and icy peaks of the Morderberg. I had something in my pack that I had not shown the people at the hotel, but when we had walked a short distance, I took it out. It was a hammock I had bought for my mother. I put her in the hammock and 2 porters carried her up, so we walked up for 2 hours. It was not easy, but we had no serious accidents. Then I looked back for the first time and saw that we were already very high. I wanted to stop and get something to eat, but the older guide said we had to keep going because avalanches were possible after sunrise, so we kept going. Finally, we came to a place where we could stop and have lunch, and we were glad of it, I can tell you, and it was good to rest a bit. We started again at about 11:30. Now we had reached the most difficult part of the Morderberg. "This is where Mr. Tomlinson's group fell," said one of the porters. "Some people can fall out of bed," I said. Mother was tired. "My dear," she said, "is it right for me to do this?" "Quite right," I said. "Are you sure there is no danger, dear?" "Of course there is no danger, Mummy," I said. We reached the upper snowfield at about 1:30. The snow there was very soft. I fell twice, but both times one of the guides saved me. We reached the top at about 3 o'clock. There was nothing up there but rocks, but the view was very nice. We ate some sandwiches, Then I made an inscription on the rock and we prepared to go down. Our way up had been quite correct. The guide had told us everything we needed to do, but the way down had been different. Mum had just taken a few steps down when suddenly, before I could do anything, she slipped. She tried to get up, but could not, and started rolling down the slope towards the lower snowfield. At one point, I had sat down on the snow and was going down the slope almost as fast as she was. Faster and faster we went. Mum rolled over like a little snowball. She spun round and round as if she were part of an avalanche. I came down feet first, in a sort of sitting position, and so we went down the snowy slopes and fields, she just a little in front and I just a little behind. Suddenly I stopped. I was not hurt, but my whole body, head, hands and legs, was covered with snow. I tried to get out of the snow and see where my mother was. It was difficult, but I finally managed. And then I saw that I was near the top of the Magenruher Glacier. And far, far away, on the other side of the glacier, I saw a small moving snowball. First it moved very fast, then it moved more slowly, then it moved very slowly, and then it stopped. I put my hand over my mouth and screamed. It was my mother. I saw her jumping over the snow, not sliding this time. In a few minutes I saw that she was unhurt too. "What have you done with the guides?" she asked. "They're coming down a different way. Did you like it?" "Not very much, dear," she said. "Probably because it was the first time. Which way do we go now?" We found a short way down and soon arrived at the hotel. At the hotel, everyone looked at us in amazement. At first, they did not believe that we had been to the top, but the guides and porters had already come back, and our old guide told them it was true, so they had to believe it. "I've made a record," I said to the guide. "I have found a good, fast way down the mountain. Did you know about it before?" "It's a very foolish thing to do," the old guide said to me. "The chance of you and your mother not being killed is 1 in 1,000. "Well," I said, "but there is one thing I did do. I went up the Morderberg and I took my old mother with me." "Do you think for a moment," said the old guide, "that you could get up that mountain without me?" He paused for a moment and then continued. "And as for your mother, well, you didn't carry her. You just bought a hammock. We carried her." "Yes," said Mother, "and perhaps it would be better if you didn't carry me up there a second time." And turning to me, she added, "So it was a bit dangerous after all?"